Hello, everyone. It's Monday. Happy Monday to you all. I'm Jess. I am joined by the wonderful Joe and Abby, aka the House of Meatball.
Hello.
Hi, friends.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you both doing this evening?
Thankfully, finally on the mend.
I was like, better than last week.
Yeah. Joe was, you couldn't tell, honestly, Joe, when we were streaming that you were under the weather. But
because I'm a consummate professional.
Mm-hmm.
It kicked our butts last week.
It really did. Like, I put all of the energy I put into streaming and not appearing sick, even though I said I was. After I was done, oh, forget it.
Yeah, it
went to pieces.
Yeah. So how was y'all's holiday? I heard you might have gotten a little bit of snow.
Yeah, I got a tiny bit.
Yeah. The problem was the 1/4 inch thick ice that we got.
Yeah.
Thursday night into Friday morning, which got me a 4-day weekend. Which don't get me wrong, I'm not mad at that. But all offense to Joe, I am very glad to go to work tomorrow.
All offense to me. Wow.
I sometimes think that working from home would be really great. But it's been a whopping 4 days at home, and I'm like,
you've already lost it.
I gotta go. So yeah.
So crazy.
In the most loving way possible.
No, I get it. If we both work from home, we'd kill each other. Like, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it.
Yeah, there'd be a murder, tragically.
You all aren't in a big space either, so I could see
we're
my
not.
Office space is encroached by your office space. Oh wait, it's all one conglomerate of space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no good space to separate. And then when you have a child home for winter break, that just makes it
it's even less space.
Even worse, because then everybody's all up in each other's business, and I'm like, tomorrow at work, I'm gonna sit for the first 5 minutes at work and just be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and then 10 minutes after that, you're gonna text me and be like, I hate being here.
And then I'm glad you give me a whole 5 minutes. That's really generous of you.
I know. I am. Hey, it's the season of giving. I am.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Of giving. Oh man. Well, speaking of giving, did you all get anything exciting for Christmas?
Yeah, we got some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Joe got socks.
Okay.
Yep, I got socks, which I'm really excited about. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I'm really excited.
I was gonna say, when I tell you, I was like, okay, what do you want for Christmas? And he bold-faced looked at me. He goes, socks. And I was like, what?
Like, yep, I've reached the old man phase of life. I really socks for Christmas.
Need socks. And I was like, oh my God, now I have to buy you socks for Christmas. Like, okay, that's fine. I'll buy you socks.
Yeah.
But these are some amazing socks, though. Like, don't get me wrong. She picked out some good ones.
Okay. Good. Are they like the multi-pack? Like 5 pairs?
No. These are good socks. Like, one pair is the scene from Happy Gilmore where Adam Sandler's punching out Bob Barker and it says "The price is wrong, bitch," which is great.
Yep.
Another one is Cactuar socks, like Cactuar from Final Fantasy, and then the third one is a squirrel with a whole bunch of acorns and stuff on it, and it says, "These nuts."
Yeah.
They're great. Perfect socks.
Listen, there is a variety. There's acorns, peanuts, maybe some cashews. I mean, I made sure to pick a variety.
There you go.
They were fabulous socks. I was not disappointed.
All right, Abby, did you get any fancy socks?
I did not get any fancy socks. Joe's got my plush out there. My mom got me a bariatric sleeve plushie.
I got it.
I didn't realize, I think I had put it on my Amazon list.
Meet Barry.
So that's Barry. He's gonna come with me to Mexico.
That's so cute.
But because my mom just shipped my Amazon stuff to us, and so I opened up a package thinking it was sweatpants because it was soft and squishy, and I just started cackling. I'm like, oh my God, of course! This was a joke gift that I put on there at 11 o'clock at night when I was half awake. So I'm like, mother, that is what you would pick. I love that. That's fine. But yeah, otherwise I got Delicious.
Awesome.
So I'm excited about that. And then yeah, we got some other good stuff. I think. I don't even remember. I just remember making cookies at this point.
Yeah.
Like, that's another part with being home that I can't deal with. My memory just turns to mush because I'm like, I made cookies today and nothing else was done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it.
But sometimes the holidays, you're meant to slow down, and just
Yeah.
relax and chill. And so, speaking of chill, we're going to have another chill conversation tonight, friends. We are joined by one of our good friends here, another local to the Northwest, if you will. She is a game publisher of a newly launched game publishing company called Violet Daisy Games. And we're going to be chatting with her for the next little while. So allow us all to welcome the wonderful AnnaMaria is here. AnnaMaria!
Yay!
Yay! Unmute your microphone, AnnaMaria.
Oh my god, it was so clever. That was it.
There we go.
For the whole night. Yep. Just imagine it was really funny. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Oh man. AnnaMaria, how are you this evening?
Good. Glad that we have returned to more typical Pacific Northwest weather. So it's just raining.
Yes. Amen.
Snowed in. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I know a lot of people are going to be like 6 inches of snow. That doesn't mean anything. But when you're in an area that does not know how to handle that, it is freakish.
Yep.
So yeah, so do not miss. And part of the reason we moved here is because on the East Coast, it was very typical to get, 12 inches, 18 inches. So we're like, oh, place where there's no snow, that'll be heaven. And then every year since we've got here, it snowed. Thanks, y'all. Y'all lied.
Yep.
Pacific Northwest lied to me, and I need to talk to someone about that.
Yeah,
So.
we like to tell people just wait an hour, and the weather's going to be different. It never fails.
That's true.
Never fails.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. So I like it though. We love the region. We love the area. We just love the folks here. It's really, really great. So
Very cool.
Getting snowed in on the mountain is a very small price to pay.
Yeah. Agreed. Well, before we dive into our big conversation we're having tonight with you, AnnaMaria, why don't you introduce yourself as far as how you would identify yourself, your job title, your pronouns, who you are, and what you do in the board gaming space.
Oh, okay. So I am AnnaMaria Phelps. My pronouns are she, her. I am a newly minted publisher in the board game space. I've been working in the board game industry for about 5 years. Well, 4 years, year break. I'm back, baby. And I really wanted to dive into trying to produce the type of games that I really like to play, and that I think I heard a lot from people over the last couple of years about the types of games that they really felt like were meaningful and gave them meaningful experiences with other people. And I thought, man, I want to see more of those. So I decided to make them.
That's rad.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that mentality.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you do things yourself? If you don't see it happening in the world, just you make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where I am right now.
Very cool. Well, we're going to be chatting with you, AnnaMaria, but if anyone has any questions in the chat, thank you, Joe, for posting that. Feel free to pop them in, and we'll get to them when we can, but we'll start some round robin, and I think tonight I will throw it to Mr. Phantom Meeple. Go for it, Phantom.
Ooh, I get to start. I feel so special.
Oh, I'm so nervous. Okay.
All right, I got to pick a really hard question. Okay, so if a train leaves New York, I'm kidding.
I actually love those, so please. All night, nothing but math questions. I'm here. I'm ready.
Fantastic. No, we'll start with the softball question. So, how did you get into board gaming?
I started my family has played games. Everybody plays games. So, I mean, I remember being as little as 3 and 4 and like literally being under the dining room table while my grandfather and his old cronies would play pinochle with each other. So, and as soon as you were old enough to hold cards, you were old enough to play. So, it was a big deal. So, my prized possession for about 10 years was an old copy of Cluedo I'd gotten when I was like 7 or 8. And man, one of my sisters lost the pipe wrench and I didn't speak to her for like 2 weeks. It was a big deal because I was exactly like I am now at 7 years old. So my first modern board game, one of my sisters was living in Belgium at the time, and she brought over Ticket to Ride Europe, and I had not played it really any modern board game at that point. She's like, you got to try this. This is going to give you the feeling of us playing again. And yeah, I was obsessed. Bought the game the next day, totally hooked. It was like the first game that I taught my partner when we started hanging out. Like, so forever. So as literally as long as I remember. So, and I love everything.
Well, we'll see what you mean by everything as we're getting
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
We're gonna dive into that definition.
Yeah. Abby, go for it, my dear.
Uh-oh.
What is your go-to player color?
Purple and then black. Yes. And then I get angry if there's not. My biggest reason, I love Violet, obviously. We play a lot of games, and if the colors start changing, I will literally move other people's stuff across the board, and then we're all confused because I thought it was blue this time because I was stuck with blue last time. So trying to stay consistent largely so that I don't forget who I am. Real life and in gaming.
That's so true. That's so funny. It's like now you think about it, you're like, oh wait, oh shoot, like
Yep.
my colors are all blending together now.
Yep.
All right, AnnaMaria, do you prefer co-ops or competitive games?
Ooh, competitive, 100%. I only have a couple of co-op games that I enjoy. But no, I want a clear, definitive winner. I don't even like when a game doesn't have enough tie conditions. Like, we will find a way. We will take that outside if we have to. There will be a winner declared. Must know. So, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Competitive all day long. Yeah.
I saw in one game, I can't remember what it was. It had like 2 tie conditions, and then it said, if not, then flip a coin. And I was like, ooh, I don't know how I feel about that.
No.
It's like random chance. And like, okay. Or
No,
I want that just got like 18 different layers of if one player had the most coins and played counterclockwise and like no.
Oh yeah. I forget what game it was, but my favorite tiebreaker condition is like if whoever has the most coins gets the victory, and then if not, whoever has the most like resources gets the victory. If there's still a tie, play again.
Yep.
Oh, really?
It do it.
Does that?
Yeah, I've seen that one. I forget what game it is, but yeah, it's literally like if there's still a tie, play again.
Yeah, because Joe read that, and I'm like, you are lying through your teeth. And he goes, no, I swear, I'm actually not. And he like showed me the rule book, and I was like, okay, that's funny. Like I'm like, but what if you tie again? He goes, you just keep playing again. Like
It's a
you
never-ending
never
cycle.
stop playing. He goes,
Just
this is
forever.
just your life now. Like you just play until someone wins.
Oh my
I
gosh,
mean,
Go
to
ahead.
be fair, if you're that good at a game that you tie like 4 times in a row, then I mean, are you really enjoying it at that point?
Yeah.
Yep.
You do need to fight. Yeah. I will say so there are some co-op games I will play, but I will never play competitive co-op again. Like that is by far my least favorite because someone always winds up being the loser even when they weren't supposed to be. Like, yeah, that's not fun at that point. When you've done everything, I'm thinking specifically of Clank Legacy, and the person who does the most work from the team always ends up losing the game. That's not fun. That feels like a real job at that point. It feels like a group project in college. Nobody wants that. So,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
Yeah.
group
So,
projects. No.
no, we don't do that again. So,
Nope.
Oh man. All right, Joe.
Oh, all right. Favorite game night snack and or beverage?
beverage, probably hard cider, or vodka, depending on what we're playing.
Mm-hmm.
And how long the game's gonna last and how long I need to stay sober for. Snack. Probably something not messy. I like grapes a lot, or a really great charcuterie board. Just like the whole board too. Just put it right like next to where I am, and I'll just go for it all night long. It's great. So, because there's variety, and sometimes you're like, I need salty now. Okay, now I need cheesy. Okay, now I need sweet. Now I need to start over. So it's all stacked in one.
I like it.
It's a good choice.
Yeah.
Abby, what you got?
What's the last game you backed on Kickstarter or any crowdfunding?
Ooh, am I allowed to go look?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Go look.
Yeah, we've had several people just pull up like their pledge managers and like, hold on, let me see.
Let me go find what I've done, because I have slowed down certainly a ton, because we had backed like a ton of stuff before the pandemic and then started getting things in and didn't have anyone to play with, so we have like this crazy backlog. But now when I go in, I go hard, just like all or nothing. So this is what it was. Yeah. Oh, right. I mean, you went from like, oh, I'll just buy the $40 copy, it's fine, to $250 and everything's plated and cold. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's going to be us here soon next year. Like we've got a list of Kickstarters coming in to be like, oh crap, we don't have people to play these with.
Yep.
Pick me.
Always.
Yes. The last Kickstarter I backed was Ducks in Tow, by First Fish Games, Stephanie Kwok. It's a you're visiting different areas of a park and pond and feeding the ducks, and they start to follow you around. So I played it a couple of years ago in the first edition, and the first edition bits didn't stay together super well. I had a prototype too, because it's back when I was still doing media. And so when she did the new one with 2 expansions and everything, I was like, yes, please. Because you're literally this little figure, and there's this piece behind you that you actually set the duck meeples in. And when you move, the ducks follow you.
That's adorable.
It is
so
crazy cute. So
I love that.
I'm going to see if I can drop the thing in the Twitch so y'all can go look at it at some point. So
yeah, send it to Joe so he can post it.
Okay. Sending it. Well, I'm sending it everywhere. In StreamYard, in Twitch chat, in wherever. So okay.
Yeah, just put it in all the places. Okay,
all right.
got it.
There we go.
Nice.
Joe's multitasking.
Yep.
All right, so AnnaMaria, do you have a favorite fan experience? Meaning like you met somebody in the industry and you were like, or something that was very memorable for you as a board gamer?
My favorite fan experience is kind of a shared experience, and I'll explain. When you go to a convention as someone in the industry, a lot of, of course, naturally there's a lot of attention paid to you, whether it's because you have to talk to a bunch of publishers, whether or not you're networking with other content creators, or just playing games with people who know you through your channel, etc. So you're very busy. But if you bring your partner with you, if you bring a friend along with you, that person's usually the shadow, right? They're there. They may get to play a little. People may chat with them a little, but not as much as you. We were at Shucks in 2019, and Ben was with me, but I had my partner. I had a ton of I was a guest. I was on 3 panels. I had to do this game, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot going on work-wise for me, and he didn't have a ton to do. So he was very jokingly I'm the bag holder. I just hold your bag, put things people give you in the bag, walk around with you. I had to do something and then stopped at the restroom real quick, and I came out, and James Hudson from Druid City Games was chatting with Ben, and this is the second time he'd done this, just seeing Ben standing somewhere waiting on me, and made a point to go up to him, have a conversation, ask how his con was going, just engage him as a person, and not just oh, that's AnnaMaria's partner, right? And it was just so freaking special that Ben had a good time too, and that someone took the time to be this isn't a connection I'm making because it's industry and it'll do me good. I'm literally, this guy standing here, he's just waiting. Let me go talk to him and make sure he's having a good time. And every time I think about it, I get just a little bit kind of teared up, because it was just such a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, it made my con experience like 100 times better because I didn't have to keep thinking, man, I really hope Ben's having a good time, because he did end up having a good time because James took the time to make sure he did.
Nice.
That's
So
awesome.
Yay.
yeah,
Shout
great
out to
guy.
James. That's
Oh, that's
awesome.
good.
yeah, or Eagle to James too. That'll get. I was really nice to him, and now because it's an Alabama football thing. Like, so he's for Alabama. I went to Auburn. So yeah.
Too funny. Too
Yeah.
funny. Oh. All right, Joe.
All right. Other than yourself, do you have a favorite designer?
Other than my nom down like on 27 or 28. Favorite designer. But it's funny because like 10 years ago I would have been like Antoine Bauza, like, Seven Wonders, Takanoko, Takaido. Now I like different things for different reasons. So like I have a small handful, right?
You can say more than one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally fair.
Love Emma Larkins, love Fortessa.
Mhm.
Like everything Fortessa does is just freaking hysterical. I'm trying to think. I think those would be my top two, honestly. I think Emma and Fortessa would probably be my top two. It's games that I go back to frequently. And those are the ones that get pulled off the shelf. Wicked and Wise and Artichokes are ones that no matter what the group. Oh, Grandpa Beck's Skull Kings. Like we pull that down a lot. So
That's a good one.
I love things that have like the ability to teach it really quickly, and everyone at the table like clicks on something that's very that relates to something that they've already played before. So for example, Wicked and Wise is a trick taker. So if you're playing with your grandma and she's played spades, it's only going to take you like 2 minutes to explain the change in this game, and then you just go. And I love to see designers who take into account that, that not everybody is like, your target audience hardcore gamer, and that you might want to play with people who are 13 or people who are 70, and that to me is something that is really special about gaming is anyone can do it. So and designers who lean into that, really that's where my heart is. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
Abby?
Yeah, definitely a great bunch.
Yeah, for sure. What is your favorite game mechanism?
I love trick taking. I think that just may be because I've been doing that one probably the longest. There are a lot of ones I like. I'll tell you what I don't like. Hidden information is I freaking need to know, man. Like, if I don't know, it creeps me out. Like, I also like economic driven stuff a lot. So, games that have any kind of economy, buy sell trading. Yeah, those. I would lean heavy into those. So, and that's where the real competition comes up, because now it's also about money. So, let's go.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ooh, do you have someone that you've looked up to in the industry as like a mentor for you?
Ooh, that's a good question. Is it okay to say people I've looked up to that wouldn't know that they've been mentors to me, but like I've followed them and then I'm like, oh, I want to do like that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Banana Chan is an amazing storyteller and designer.
Yeah.
And just a generally cool person. And anytime I see them do something, I'm like, that's freaking amazing. So like for a few years now, I've kind of like, there's a little bit of what would Banana do when it comes to like design, or now with Violet Daisy, like, be ballsy and go get it. So I'm like, all right, it's time to do that. So like, I think that's the first person who would come to mind. I've worked with Edo Baraf from Pencil First for off and on 4 years now. And he does a lot of things with like mentoring people in the industry. So it's one of those like adjacent, since I've worked with him, I've kind of like gotten some of that stuff from him.
Yeah.
So I think those would be the two people that I really, that really come to mind first. So
nice. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Joe.
All right. What would you say is the motivation that keeps you going? What keeps you invested in the industry and the hobby?
Part of it is just the joy of gaming in general. Like I'm going to always be doing this. I've been doing this for playing games specifically. I mean, I've been doing this for over 40 years. I'm probably not going to one day go, you know what, I don't want to do anymore, play games. The nature of that may change, but the act of gaming, the bits and pieces of games that I like, you know, maybe the genre changes a little, or the mechanic I love this year or this decade changes, but actually playing the games is kind of my jam. Probably one of my biggest hobbies. What keeps me in the industry now is the ability to create experiences for other people. And kind of going back to when I was talking about designers, like being able to create experiences with other people that they can share with anyone that they want to bring to their table, whether or not it's their, you know, their core friend group, or they just want to have a great game night with their young family or their extended family or whatever. Now I'm here, and I'm really excited to be helping people have good experiences and memories with the people that they bring to their table. So
Beautiful.
Good, great answer.
Thanks. I also noticed just now that I always finish, like, when I'm done with a thought, I say so. And now I'm just thinking about it. So.
That's all right, because we're continuing conversation.
Yes.
So,
Mhm.
Abby.
All right, so Abby.
So, Abby, what is one piece of advice you'd give to someone who's just starting out?
Just starting out in the industry or in publishing or just generally?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Create boundaries. Just like you would do in your personal life with your family or your friends or whatever. When you move into an industry, and especially a hobby industry, it is very easy for lines to get blurred, and not necessarily in a really bad way, but in a, oh God, I just realized I'm still working at 3:00 in the morning way. And even if you love this, and even if this is your chief hobby and the only thing that you ever want to do for the rest of your life, you will burn out if you don't set a few, you know, maybe you just don't work Sunday from 5 to 8. You know, maybe you just don't say no to a new project before you finished the other 18 projects you have. Figure out what is your real work-life balance and set some boundaries early so that later on you don't get to a point where you're like, oh, how am I going to do all this? Like, because you will still love this, and you will probably still love gaming and still love this hobby, but it will take a toll on you. So definitely boundary setting is good in every aspect of life, and certainly in your work life. It's a necessity. So
That's our thing. That's going to be our thing.
Yep.
Okay, I have to say.
Just going to consciously do it now, which is great.
I know. Because I was thinking, it was like, don't say so. Oh, wait, I'm done. So?
Yeah. A little side note, every time I feel like we've had, the three of us, when we've had a guest on here and had conversation, we've always brought out something unique in the conversation. And so now we realize, like, okay, AnnaMaria is self-conscious about saying the word so we're gonna make sure she feels safe here. You know, someone else had something else going on. We've also had game designers just enlighten, like, we've opened up their brain space during conversations, and they've gotten game ideas out of these things. Yeah, so it's been really, really awesome to have, like, I feel super honored to have these conversations. It's kind of like not only a cozy, chill time, but also a time for like in-depth thinking, you know, and actually like development in like who they are, because sometimes people they get more ideas, or they get formulated of thoughts as they're talking things out. And so I feel like this conversation does that for everybody. Which makes me feel really excited. Yeah. Okay, next question, AnnaMaria. Is there something that you wish would improve or change within the board gaming hobby?
still think we have a long ways to go insofar as diversity. Not in two ways. I'm hard pressed to see pictures from events and see a lot of women or a lot of people of color. When you look into designer spaces or even publishing spaces, it's the same thing. Like our diversity in the game space. I think we are starting to think about this and be active about it, but I think we have a long way to go. And I think there is still a little bit of pushback. You know, sometimes you will see in a Facebook group or something, someone will go, "Who are your favorite women designers?" And someone will immediately go, "Why does it matter if they're women?" Well, why do you care, my dude? Like, clearly you do because you're saying something. So, and I also want to see that in the games themselves. We played Natty Narking a couple of days ago. It is a Martin Wallace game based on the old Discworld game, which has to be my Grail game. So we got a copy of this. We're playing through it. This was published in, I think, 2020. It may have been 2019. There, I think, were a total of 3 people of color on all the cards of faces of people, like probably 30, 40 different cards. And it just, and all the women had clearly either domestic or what should I say, professions that were more woman, washerwoman, prostitute, things like that. There were no, like, business women with a top hat or anything like that. And I just thought, how is it that in 2019 we still can't manage to recognize that there are more people playing these games than just straight white dudes, and there are more people who would come into this industry if they saw themselves reflected on the front of a box, inside the game, etc. So if there was one thing I would love to see the industry continue to make better inroads into is just diversity across the board. That's really important. I think it's important for the growth of this industry, and I think it's important for the betterment of this industry.
Hear, hear.
Yes.
Definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Joe?
Okay. Do you think the terms board game and tabletop are separate, or are they becoming interchangeable?
I personally think they are separate. I think board game, in my mind, is a specific experience, and I think tabletop encompasses anything you do on a tabletop. I think this might be because I come from a video gaming background, and when I think tabletop, I think RPG, I think standard board game, I think card game, etc. When I think board game, I think 12 by 12 box, board in the center of the table. Some meeples and stuff. So no, I personally, and I know that this definition changes per person, but I think of them as two very separate terms. It's kind of one of the reasons why when I'm talking about Violet Daisy Publishing, I talk about tabletop games, because we will be doing everything from TTRPGs to more standard board game experiences. So I want to use a word that kind of encompasses all of those things, and board game isn't that word.
It's a great answer.
Thank you.
What is your motivation that keeps you going?
Booze money. No.
That's it. Good night, folks.
Hello, everybody. Good night.
Here's the link to my GoFundMe. And oh my goodness. Honestly, I do love this hobby, and I want to see more people enjoy this hobby and not have to secretly enjoy this hobby. There's been talk in the wargaming community about why there aren't enough women in the wargaming community. It's because people don't feel comfortable in the wargaming community. Women do not feel comfortable in the wargaming community. I want to continue to help push the boundaries of these spaces so that the people who genuinely want to be here and come to the table and play these games can do so safely and comfortably. And part of doing that is being present myself as a gay older woman at the table to say, no, my table's good, and, kind of continue to push open, hold open doors so that other people can come. I'm sneaking everybody into the movie theater. Come on, let's go. Like, it's important to me. It's important to see, I felt more and more comfortable in the industry as I saw more people like me in the industry. So I know those certain things help. And so even when I was on hiatus from the industry, I was still trying to find ways to keep that. It keeps me going. It keeps me wanting to do things in this industry. Plus, there's a lot of really, really, really great people in this industry and they're really cool to hang out with. So there's that too. Y'all. Basically y'all. So.
I mean, not to our own horns. I mean, we're pretty awesome.
Just saying.
Who else would I be hanging out with on Boxing Day? Like, this is usually sweatpants and carbs and like drinking all day. So
exactly. No better place to be.
Yes.
All right. Abby. Was that your
I
question,
just went.
Abby?
That was my question. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm like.
I was like, oh God, no! Don't put me on the spot again.
Okay. Important question, AnnaMaria.
Okay.
When it comes to your game collection, horizontal, vertical, or if it fits, it sits.
Vertical.
Okay.
That was an easy one.
Okay.
I actually recently
there we go.
I just recently converted. It is easier to. Doesn't it sound like
so
like
I just
I've been Jewish for
myself.
years and now we're Catholic? Okay, I am, baby. It's from a space, because I love spatial puzzles. Like, space horizontal is probably the best. You can stack things higher. You can find things. Different sizes. Vertical, though, is better for your box because it doesn't get crushed, and it's better for accessibility because you don't have to go, okay, I'm going to take these 6 boxes off this one, put them on the table, get this one out, put them all back, and now I've got to put that one back, so we're going to do the same thing again. You just grab it like a book, write out the thing. The box bands are fantastic, and the industry has been so much better in the last even 10 years about making inserts that everything fits pretty nicely into, so stuff doesn't just lie at the bottom all sad, and then to expand your box out. So I am proud of my vertical storage.
I realize as we keep asking this question, friends, I realize we should have a shirt. It's like, like hashtag team horizontal or hashtag team vertical. Like,
we should.
It sits, kind of thing. Man,
you get it. Team horizontal is going to get you some looks that, because board,
exactly.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
But maybe that makes it funnier. I don't know. Like
that might be worth it. Like the strange looks you get, it's like, yeah, you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I was going to say,
identify your people. Because your games, right? You're like, yes, you.
What?
Thank you. Come to my house.
Oh man! All right, Joe.
All right, let's go a little hard hitting. Time for my favorite question of the interview. Do you consider yourself a player first, a designer publisher second, or has the creative process overtaken the hobby aspect of gaming for you?
Ooh, this is interesting. I think until recently, I would have, even after Synchronized, I would have still said player. But I have found, especially over this holiday, as we've been trying to kind of clear off our shelf of opportunity, the way that I'm thinking about games as we play them is with a design and development oh, this is very interesting, that they did this, or even just minor graphic design choices I get excited about. So, we finished the game and Ben's like, how'd you like the game? I was like, oh, the game was okay, but man, did you see how they laid out this board? Like, it's genius. So I think I'm sitting on the fence right now, still enjoying playing a ton, and not feeling like I have to make it work. But starting to look at things a little bit more in depth as to, what kind of things would I like to see in my own games? What do I know? I think you learn a lot about yourself when you learn the things you don't like, so if I start to not like something, I don't immediately go, oh, I just hate this game. I start to go, what specifically here do I not like about this? So yeah, that's really interesting. We just played, we've been playing through some of the big unlock boxes, and yesterday one of the ones we were doing just had kind of this really weird esoteric answer to a question that wasn't wasn't good for the game because it required like some other knowledge of something that was outside the game. And I just at the end, everybody's like, "Oh, I hated that one." I was like, "Okay, but did you just hate this one thing?" And then everyone was like, "Oh yeah, that was it. It was just that. Everything else was fine." So yeah, floating somewhere in between, I think.
Okay.
That's fair. That's totally
That's
fair.
a good question, though. I like it.
Thank you.
All right, now, so Abby.
So, what game would you never play again?
Clank Legacy. I've never played Clanks, shamefully. Not shamefully. But it's a shame I did not play it before Clank Legacy, because now when people suggest it, I'm like, and everybody's always like, "Oh, but it's not the same." And I get that it's not the same, but it was just such a disheartening experience. And I will say, I won Clank Legacy. Like, we got to the end, and I roasted the two people I played with. Like, it was a contest. But I felt so bad that at the end of, so we played the whole thing over like the course of 2 days. It was a New Year's Eve thing. We started at 7 one day and finished at like 8 in the evening the next day. We just went through the whole thing. And yeah, like we'd get to the end of something and somebody would have been entirely dicked out of any kind of points or winning because they were the one who did the clutch move that saved us all and won us the map. And I just thought, how lousy is it that if you do all the work, someone else gets the reward, right? And once again, it really does feel like that whole college project thing. So no, not even if like, some of my favorite celebrities or someone we're playing, like, I have to pass. I'll stick around and watch like Henry Cavill play Clank. But I won't take part. It's fine. Like I'll mix drinks. It's good.
That's awesome.
All right, AnnaMaria, what is your ideal player count or group size?
Really does depend on the game.
Okay.
I like big, crunchy Arc Nova. Twilight, which the one that's the it's not the new roll and write. Inscription. There you go. I love Twilight Inscription. Imperium, I've never had an opportunity to play. I think it would be up my street, but it's not something I could put on the list. So I love these games that last 2 hours, but once it hits about 2 hours, I'm like, we got to go. Like, I need to do anything else, even as much as I love it. So for those, 3 or 4 maximum. Like, as soon as you hit 5 or 6, it's too much downtime, right? And it's not fun to sit and watch someone else play a game. And in a game like something like Arc Nova, where the board state changes so much in the course of a round, it's not even like you can plan your turn until really the person before you's turn. So with 5 people, you really are spending like 20 minutes going, okay, well, that's cute. Like, what's on my phone? Like, yeah. For something like Seven Wonders, however, like 7 people, beautiful. It's ridiculous. Like the amount of smack talk that happens, and it's quick, and it just so it really does depend on the game. And I feel like every game has that sweet spot. And I wish more board game publishers would there's been a trend to go, oh, it plays 1 to 6. Okay, but what did you intend for it to be? Like, what is it? Because sometimes those games are best at 1. They're great solo experiences, right? And sometimes if you don't have 5, forget it. There was no reason. I hate seeing a dummy player in things. Like, it seems to me, yeah, right? I feel like I got cheated. Like, if somebody says, oh, it totally goes to 2 players, and I pull it out, and they're like, set up the dummy player. I'm like, no, this was a 3-player game. This was a 3-player game, and you trick me into buying it. Like, so I think each game that number is individual, but I want to play at the sweet spot for each game. I'm sure most people feel the same when it comes down to that too. They're like, I don't want to try.
Yeah, there's some games that just do not do dummy players justice. Like, some games do it great, but there's some that they're just there to be there, and it's just not.
And
fun.
they're in the way, and then I want to punch them, and that's why We lovingly call them invisible dick in our house.
Yes,
Or
it
what
doesn't
did
matter what game it is. Every single time you play is invisible. Yeah, what did Dino Corgi say? Something
translucent Richard.
Translucent Richard.
And
I
it
love it.
cracked
I
me up
love it.
because I was like, translucent Richard.
Oh my
Yep.
god!
Yep,
I
light
love
bulb.
that. No, perfection. I agree, 100%.
What is the most incredible bargain you've ever found on a board game?
We are very fortunate to have a local board game store that actually has a consignment section where people can sell their used games to other players. When I was getting back into the industry, I wanted to pick up like kind of a ton of stuff to see, what have I missed? What kind of mechanics, what are people doing right now? And I found a brand new, it had been open and someone had clearly picked up the rule book and then went, oh, fuck no, and put the rule book back in and I'm sorry. They said, oh, heck no. And closed the box and like took it to Blue Highway, a copy of Tidal Blades. So
wow.
and the full Kickstarter, all the minis, everything. And it was like $60, whereas a $200.
Oh, what a steal!
I was like, I didn't even, once I opened it, I just closed it and put it on my arm and like shopped the rest of the time with it. Like,
no kidding.
Like, Tidal Blades. So yeah, one of these days I'm gonna get around to painting the minis. But yeah, that was probably my biggest one for sure.
That's a slamming deal right there.
Yeah. Like I said, I really think it was probably a little daunting.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, rule books like that are like, that's why, Teaches are so good. That's why Watch It Playeds are so good. Like having someone to walk you through it instead of having to try and like suss out what this rule book means. I get it. So, but also I'm very grateful to that person for getting rid of their game.
Yeah. Wow. That is a good deal. Very good.
Yeah. That's when you go,
very good.
You can come over to my house and play it. I'll help you.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Like the Seattle Gamers thing. If you brought a copy of Tidal Blades
yeah.
to my house, I'll teriyaki. It'll be great.
I think I should do that sometimes. Like half the games that I have, so they're going to get played.
Yeah, it's just a really cool program, right? Because everybody's got like a stack full of games and nobody wants to just like giving them away is hard because you want to be mindful about that. And everybody's like, oh, bring them to a shelter, but the shelter's not going to do anything with your copy of Tidal Blades. You've just
they're not
for them, because then they have to offload it someplace else, right? You bring to places like that small, easy, accessible card games or whatever. So having some place where you just genuinely could bring your more complicated, complex sort of, or even things like your box of Unlock that you're done with, right? Like, to turn it. So such a great program. I wish more board game stores had the space and the resources to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've also seen.
Hi, Ann.
Hello, Ann. Local libraries do that as well.
Yes.
Which I think is fantastic. Just to have something that people can utilize their local library card to check out, and then maybe in the hopes of, actually, I do really like this game, then they can go to their local game store and like buy it. So it's another way to try before you buy kind of thing. I wish more libraries did that too, because I, A, love my local library, and B, wish they had more of those programs available too.
Yeah, if you are listening and you want your library to look into those programs, Jen, the board game librarian, and Rebecca Strand both head up a couple of huge library programs for the National Library Service, and they would be very happy to talk to you in your local library. So shout out, because they're both really cool, and libraries are such an amazing resource. So
All right, I think it's Phantom's turn.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, AnnaMaria. Perfect circumstances, perfect player counts. Top 5 games you bring with you on a weekend getaway.
Okay. Ooh. Well, Seven Wonders every time. Like, that's still my favorite game to play.
Okay.
Let's see. Forgotten Waters. because any chance you have to be a pirate, you should go and be a pirate. Okay. So, and the weekend, like it ebbs and flows, right? Sometimes it's, sometimes there's just 2 people hanging out, and then sometimes there's like 5 or 6 people hanging out, right? So let's see. Okay. Tricarion.
Ooh, good choice. Yes.
Yeah. And just set up a big table and have it be like those Avalon Hill games where it's like you have to go leave and have a meal and come back. So, trying to think. Santa Monica, which is a lot lighter, but I just dig the game. It's fun collecting sand dollars and getting your little people to their perfect spot, and they're all hanging out in the Sunglasses Hut. So that is another really, really fun one with the right player count.
Okay.
And I'm gonna include so Discworld Ankh-Morpork, which Nanny Narking is the remake of, but I would go with the actual Discworld game. Really cool area control and some economic stuff going on in there too, and it's downright, I don't want to say nasty, but the game is mean, and you have to be mean. Your cards are take money from this person, remove this person's players, kill this person. Those are your 3 choices, right?
Wow.
So it's time to choose. Why I like that is because you don't have one person at the table who's like, I'm just going to be nice to everybody, and then they lose, and everybody feels terrible because they didn't do it. You have to be mean, so then you don't feel mean being back. You don't feel bad about being mean back to them.
Sounds like Abby's kind of game right there.
Actually,
Abby's like, invite me over.
I was just saying, I know what we're doing the next time I'm up there.
Before or after Food Chain Magnet?
You know what? Okay, can I do a 6 because Food Chain Magnet is number 6?
Yes,
absolutely.
Any chance I get to put that game on the table? We recently relearned it. It's so great.
I've been wanting to play.
Well, Jess, game. There's this convention coming up in 2 weeks. I think it's called OrcaCon. Anything's possible. OrcaCon.
Yes. And we're all going to be there, friends.
Yes.
Little shameless plug.
We will definitely tote that along. Definitely for a once things are toning down and you're still in the mood to game, a early evening game, 3 hours, easy game to play.
Okay.
Yeah. If you all are okay with me being atrocious at it, I think the last time we played, I had $5, and Joe and our friend had hundreds.
Okay,
and they've got CFOs and CEOs, and I'm sitting here with a paper boy. And,
I totally don't mean to segue, side haul the entire interview. But yeah, the last time we played Food Chain Mag, Abby's so great. We relearned the game. Our friend Beth was with us, and she retaught us the game because she plays it often. And I'm like, okay, I got this again. It's like riding a bike. It's easy. So we play the game. I wind up getting the milestone where your CEO can be a CFO. I forget which one it is, but it's really great one to get if you get, because you wind up getting 50% of your sales on top of your money. It's super overpowered.
Yeah.
But the best part about it is, throughout the entire game, Abby's over here okay, I've got my 3 staffers. I'm making a little bit of money. Our friend Beth's across the table. She's making money, and she's like, how am I not catching up? This is ridiculous. So we count up our money. I have $450. She has $340, and then Abby's got $100. So after the game's over, I turn to Beth. I'm like, how come you didn't buy the CFO? She's like, you got the CFO. I was like, no, my CEO is a CFO. It's like, are you kidding me? The CFO was there the entire time. I was like, yeah.
Okay.
Oh man.
Had she bought the CFO, I would have been obliterated.
Oh yeah. It's one of those games where there's too much for my ADHD to control. I can hyper focus on making burgers, and then they're like, we're gonna do pizza and sodas and beers, and I'm just like, I made a burger. So I am really, really bad at it. Like, it is. Joe and our friend are just like, good game. And I'm like, y'all are lying through your teeth right now. Do not patronize me like that.
No, we weren't patronizing you. It was a good game. Like you had just we hadn't played it in like 3 years. So
Yeah,
I mean,
forever.
Wasn't expecting you to be like a complete savant at it.
Oh, no, like Joe's like, oh, I did this and this, and I'm like, I just fired all of my staff, and I have a burger. And he's like, you're doing great, and I'm like, oh, okay.
It's the Elon way of managing business. I heard it.
It really
is. Genius.
Well, speaking of food, AnnaMaria, if this was your last day on Earth, what would your last dish be?
Ooh.
And you can make it like a full, like, multiple course meal if you wanted to. And yeah, so it doesn't have to be like one food group.
I think it would have to. I'm going to go with a charcuterie board to start. Thai curry with noodles, not rice. Green curry. Maybe a Penang, depending on the day. And cannoli to finish. Okay. So we're gonna travel the world. We're gonna see all the places. So
that's a pretty good smorgasbord right there.
Yeah. We've done that a couple of nights when we've had some gummy bears, and ordered Thai food and then got cannolis from the Italian place. So
I love it.
Like the DoorDash guys are all meeting each other at the door, like, don't judge us.
Too funny. Too funny.
Yeah. Hot food, especially when I'm sick, the spicier the better. Like, there's something, I don't know if I just have like this.
Yes, I'm not by myself.
I know. I'm just like, if it's hurting me, clearly it's gonna hurt the virus too, right?
Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying. Just spice that thing out.
Yes!
There we go.
Oh my God, thank you.
Too funny.
Oh my goodness.
Too funny. All right, Abby?
Yes, if you could redesign one game, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good question. Not necessarily a redesign, but just a tweak. I love junk art. It is a dexterity game with a number of different shaped pieces, and there were like several different ways to stack your junk. So it wasn't just a game of get a card, look at it, put that piece on, next person goes. There were different game modes. Sometimes you would have to stack for the other person. Sometimes everybody would have to use the same piece. Sometimes you did things with different manipulation of the pieces. And I thought, and I know that they've been looking for another publisher. And the two things that I would do is, they had like a wood version and a plastic version. And unfortunately, plastic injection molding is very good, but it is not perfect. So for a game that you need to stack things and flat sides need to be flat and round sides need to be round, it's got to be made out of wood. Like, you just can't get the plastic perfect enough that you can guarantee that every single little barbell shaped piece is flat on one side. So I would definitely go with just like redoing it again and doing all wood. And then I would make like more conditions, like more interesting ways for people to stack things, like having to set it on something, or Jenga style start with a tower and then have to start removing pieces. I just thought more variations, please. So I'm really hoping, if you're watching this and you are a game publisher, look at junk art, because it's a fantastic game in and of itself, but there's so much room to add even more really cool stuff to it. So yeah, it's really neat.
Nice.
I like it. And check it out if you find it somewhere.
Check in your bargain bins, because you never know.
Yep, there you go.
Yes.
You use game section.
Yeah. Joe, what you got?
All right. Do you think crowdfunding has changed the design process for games for better or for worse?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it has definitely changed the design process. I think it has, but okay, I'm going to say both. And here's why. Because I think in some cases, we see things that are pushed into crowdfunding that either just aren't ready, aren't really a fully thought out, well fleshed out game concept, or people who have come into the space and don't really understand crowdfunding, and they're just like, I had this really good idea, now I'm going to put it on crowdfunding. Not great, and not great for design and production of games, because I think this sets up something for consumers where they're like, man, that seemed like such a good idea, and I backed it, and I got it, it was awful, right? But on the flip, I think it has challenged designers to work in new ways. It's the, we all stand on the shoulders of each other sort of thing. And you see something, and we see more things while they're still in development and in the process now, because everybody's kind of mindful of, I need to be working on the marketing for my crowdfunder. So I'm going to, have my designer diary on Board Game Geek, or I'm going to talk about the things that we're going through, or we're going to show in the video, like what the process is here. And this has other designers kind of look at and go, gosh, I never thought about it like that. Maybe I should try this tweak or this little bit in what I'm working in. So I think it adds to the collaborative process of design. And I think that's always a positive for industry, because no person is an island. Like, we're all constantly getting each other ideas from each other, especially in creative spaces. So I think good and bad, but I think largely good. I think if I had to pick one, I would go good.
Okay, I can definitely see both arguments there. It's a fantastic answer.
I can argue with myself all day. So.
All right, we got a question from Anne in the chat. She asked, did you get any board games this holiday season, AnnaMaria?
I did. I got my Secret Santa from Board Game Quest, got me Terracotta Army.
Nice. That's a good one.
I'm looking forward to it. A lot of people said really good things about it. I am going in pretty blind on this one, because I've seen the cover, and I've seen a couple of people be like, I love this game, I want to play it so much, and I know very little about it. So, and it's kind of like when you go into a movie, and so you have like no expectations because you didn't watch anything. Like, it's kind of perfect a little bit.
Sure.
So
it's okay, AnnaMaria. I'll do you one better. Hey, Abby, why'd you want Terracotta Army?
So it had really cute little minis.
There is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Joe Boldface looked at me and he went, okay, I picked up this game. What's it about? And I'm like, I don't know.
Minis.
He's like, what did you just say to me? And I'm like, I said, I don't know. It has cute little minis and a spinny thing. And he's like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to hope it's great, because I know you just bought that for me at Gen Con, because it had cute little minis and a spinny thing.
Yeah, but to be fair, we played it twice already. It's fabulous. So if you need someone to teach you, we can teach it to you.
No, I played it three
times. Yeah, 3 times.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I'm so glad, because I was like, had that turned out wrong, I would never be trusted to buy a board game blindly. Like, Joe's going to be like, write a 10-page dissertation on why I should buy you this game.
Why do I need to allocate? Why do I need to allocate suitcase space as small as it is from Gen Con for this game?
Oh my God. Y'all, I went 100% in on Dog Park everything. The little sleeve for the box, right? Like pictures of Junie and shit in there. Solely based on the fact that it was called Dog Park. Like,
I love it.
Nothing to it. And Ben for like half a second looked at me when I told him that, and then I have to share this with y'all. So there's another dog game coming out called Hair of the Dog. It was on Kickstarter about the same time as Dog Park, and I was like, I have to let you know that I may have paid a little extra, so maybe they'll do something with Junie.
That's awesome.
This is Juniper in Hair of the Dog, because Ben had done the exact same thing as I had.
Oh my goodness!
I love it.
Oh my God! So yeah,
I love it.
We are literally the same person. So,
That is
but nope,
awesome.
sight unseen. I was just like, it's called Dog Park. I will love it. I don't care. So.
That's so
Oh.
great.
I also got the Lord of the Rings card game. They've remade the War of the Ring, the big minis game, into a card game. So I had wanted to play the minis game until I watched someone set it up, and I was just like, wow, I don't have that much time in my life. Like, that's crazy. And yeah, so Ben found a copy of the actual card game. So that was my stocking stuffer. It was bigger than the stocking, but yeah. He was like, close your eyes. All right. And he just laid the stocking on top of it. It's like, there you go. I was like, yes.
Oh, awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are my 2 big holiday gifts.
Yay. All right. Joe, Abby?
Let's see. Question we want to ask. Okay, we'll throw another softball one at you.
Okay.
What game would you recommend to someone who has never played a quote unquote hobby type game before?
I would lean into something like Skull King, or Just One. Largely Just One because there are literally 3 rules to that game, right? You know, someone chooses a word, everyone write a word, compare the words, show the person. That's it. That's its 3 rules to Just One. You can teach anyone how to play that game. Something like Skull King because a lot of people are familiar with classic bicycle card games. And in this case, I mean Trick Takers. Skull King takes that and just gives it a minute twist, which turns it into more of a hobby game, but introduces different concepts and different rules for people who aren't familiar with hobby gaming. And I really love that space. I love the kind of like we're meeting where people who played Monopoly or people who played cribbage or people who played spades with their grandma, right, can come in and recognize a few of the enough of what's going on in the new game to not feel daunted, you know, or just completely overwhelmed that, oh my gosh, I don't know what is drafting, you know, what is roll and move, like, you know, people like these terms that we throw out when we talk about mechanics and stuff. These are unfamiliar. It's just like any industry or whatever, right? We've got our own terms. The military is just full of crazy acronyms that nobody understands. Right? So sometimes I think they make them all up. But when you find kind of that, I don't like the word gateway game because I think any game can be a gateway game, but when you find a gateway game for that person, and whether it is, I like birds, so Wingspan, or whether it's, I know how to play spades, so it's Skull King. Like, I love those. But yeah, I intentionally keep a couple of those games just so when we're having a more casual night with folks who aren't gamers, we can still play a game, but they feel like they don't feel like I introduced them to some like calculus and they're having to like, you know, really get into their brain on it. So yeah.
Okay.
Once again, it's about that experience. I'm more about who's at the table than what's on the table. I just want to make sure everybody's having a good time and goes home and goes, you know what? We played this game and it was like there were just 3 words left on the table. So it was a Bill and Pony and My. And I didn't know what it was. It was My Little Pony, but like, it's great. Yeah.
Abby, what you got?
Oh my gosh, where did my question go?
It's gone forever.
It like just was like, and the worst part is I'm looking at the list, like a list, and my brain is still like, we forgot what we were doing.
Weird.
What games would you recommend to designers just starting out?
Anything and everything, and just play a variety. Like, I'm not sure that I would pick 4 or 5 out and just say, just play these. I would say go to your local board game, wherever, like your local board game store, and start playing just whatever's in their library. Have people recommend things to you that they like and try and figure out why they like it. You know, the more games you play, the more mechanics you're introduced to, the more themes you're introduced to, the more just general design choices, very simple choices about inserts in a box or the size of your cards affect how you play a game. And the more of those you are exposed to as a designer, the better ideas you're going to get on what you want your games, how you want people to look at and feel and experience when you play your games. Card size is a big deal in the first game that'll be coming up with Violet Daisy, because there are multiple cards. So there's those little bitty things in Arkham Horror, and then you lay out 18 stacks of them, and you're like, holy cow, why are there so many cards? And why are they so freaking small? You got your standard, playing deck size cards. You've got tarot size cards. And having a handful of each of those type cards is a very different experience. And so it seems so trivial, but it changes wildly the experience that people have playing your game. So my advice to someone who's just getting into design is just play games. Just play tons of games. Play with different people. So that you see what someone who is casual versus someone who's a little bit more hardcore like and dislike. Because that's another thing you need to think of as a designer. Who are you designing for? You are not designing for everyone. No one designs for everyone. If you design for everyone, no one will buy your game. You are designing with somebody in mind. Figure out who that person is by playing games with everybody and playing lots of games. So my answer is everything. Just play them all. Just get started on the BGG list and just keep going. And by the time maybe you're 80, you might be close to done. So good luck.
Hopefully you find the game by then.
Maybe.
All right. Let's see. Is there a game idea or an idea that you had for a game that you shelved at the moment in order to revive it for a later success?
I designed a solo or 2-player 18-card game that was based on composting. It was building the perfect compost pile, which there actually is a science to. I mean, everything will rot eventually, but if you want to do it quickly and efficiently, there's a way to do it. And while I was a teacher's assistant at a local college back in DC for botany, we were going through teaching the sweet little kids composting, and also we were doing a composting project. It was part of her lab, and so I designed this card game, which the students thought was interesting. And I did pitch to a couple of publishers, but as I thought about it, they're just like, it's definitely more of a niche theme for sure. There's not a ton of people who are like, man, composting? Give me that terrible stuff that's in your, underneath your sink or whatever. So I have taken ideas that I've had insofar as like card placement and how I want to do the math of a game from that. But the design for that game itself, I think I have like one little cell sheet left in my memory box just to remember Heap, the game that was but never was.
Okay.
So
Aw,
it taught me a lot though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm glad that sometimes when we've talked with designers and things too, it's like, they bring back fond memories of those ideas, right? It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I had this idea for a game and I wish it would have come to something, but it didn't. Instead of going like, oh gosh, that was like the worst. I have no idea. I never want to like see it ever again. Like it seems like a lot of times when they talk with game designers and their ideas for games, it's mostly in a fond memories kind of thing, which is really sweet. So it sounds like that's kind of similar with you with Heap.
I think it is a product of being in creative spaces in general. Whether you are a dancer or a painter or a game designer, you start to learn somewhere in your process things that will work and things that will not work. And so you may get halfway through painting and go, okay, this taught me some very interesting things about brushstrokes on petals, but this will never see the light of day, right? Yeah. So I think game design is very similar. You may work on, I think that's why game jams are so effective, right? You go for 24 hours, you just crunch something out and it's kind of terrible and beautiful at the same time. And you learn something in the experience. And that is very valuable.
Rad. Very, very cool. All right, Joe, Abby?
All right. Here's one. Did you ever have an idea or a theme for a game you wanted to make, but someone else made it and you decided to stop?
Not really. I do have an IP in mind for Violet Daisy, and I'm not going to share it, but I'm just hoping no one does. You know, I'm going to share it anyway because I love you all. Xena. I want to do a Xena game like so bad.
Oh, how awesome would that be?
Oh, y'all!
Sign me
It's
up.
just
Sign
I
me
want
up.
it to be. I'm gonna talk about it too. Okay, so I have this half designed in my head. So if somebody does come out with it, I did come up with this first. And you all know. It will be
Here's the proof right here.
Right. Like, now, I want to do a Xena game Descent style, where you're Xena and Gabriella, and we'll get some other, side characters and stuff. And you go through a campaign, and you get to do all the cool things and fight people. And there's like the story, like in the show, and like Ares shows up every once in a while. You're like, ooh, 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 but mostly it's Gabriella. So like, which is important, because it's also going to be super, super gay. Like I'm just leaning into that because the show never did as much as anybody
I love
wanted
it.
to. Yeah, but that's and every once in a while, someone else in the industry will say, there should be a Xena game. I'm like, shh, don't do it. Just wait for me. I want to. So,
oh, that's awesome.
So there you go. Yeah. So not yet, and hopefully not. I got to get to the point in Violet Daisy's illustrious cycle where I can actually afford the IP. So pitching to places too is a lot harder than it used to be. Like it used to be that you would go to Lucasfilm and say, I have an idea for a Star Wars game. It's going to be a card game. And that's about all I know. And they're like, okay, here, fine, here, have the IP, And now they're like, what kind of game? Can you go ahead and show us a prototype? Like, send us a pitch sheet. Like, they want you to really have it. Because translating things into board game has gotten so hot, right? Mm-hmm. So they want to know. I've actually pitched like a couple of games to people who, went with other folks for both a webcomic artist and for a television show. And they wanted things like they wanted it basically done so they could just slap the stuff on it and go. So it is, that has changed big time. So I need to write the Xena stuff up and just send it over to them and be like, please, please, I promise you. Yeah. So also, if I could play with Lucy Lawless, what?
Oh, there we go. You gotta get her on board.
Yes.
I might play Clank Legacy with Lucy Lawless, y'all.
There it is.
Lucy Lawless.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill.
Every person has their price. Like, Lucy Lawless, Henry Cavill. Who's the fourth? Who's the fourth?
Michelle Yeoh.
Let's go.
Michelle Yeoh. Now that is a definite. Like, there is nothing she could name. There's not a game she could name that I would not be like, yes.
Yep.
All right, there it is. Celebrity Clank Legacy. Henry Cavill, Michelle Yeoh, Lucy Lawless, and AnnaMaria.
Yep.
I would melt. I would die. That would be so cool. Yeah, that'd be
so good.
All right, Abs, what you got?
Is there a particular time of day that you feel is best to get your creative juices flowing?
Strangely, because I am not a morning person per se, and y'all know this, like, I don't answer things until 10 o'clock, typically. I don't get up till 10 o'clock. That's my big thing with Violet Daisy is I will never have a meeting before 10 o'clock in the morning.
Nice.
I just, but for whatever reason, like, sometime between when I get up to about lunchish time, late brunch time, I can get so much work done in that 3 to 4 hour span that the rest of the day looks like kind of a joke. Like, just bang, like answer every email, schedule every meeting, get like tons and tons and tons of things done, design 6 games, whatever. And then the afternoon it hits about 3:30 and I'm just like, oh. I'm so dead. I hate everything. So for not being a morning, I think the thing is I just don't want to get out of bed. If I could find a way to just do all of it, but in bed too, I would be, the world's most productive person. So I'll work on that.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I think
That
we
is
can all relate
perfect.
to that too. Like, if
Yes.
we just transfer our bed to our different spaces, And like,
Yes,
there we go.
100%.
As the one drawback of moving to the Pacific Northwest is before when I was working with people and I was on the East Coast, I was always like the early person, right?
Yes.
So, and now it just shows like how late I actually get up because for an East Coaster, I'm like, oh, sorry, I can't meet you until 1 o'clock. There's just
Yeah,
not.
and
I actually had.
I'm gonna like clock out at.
Sorry,
Yeah, right?
we can't talk. Yeah. No, I actually had a publisher who called me at 6 o'clock in the morning because we had a 9 o'clock meeting, and I was like, "Oh, baby, no, like, this is not gonna happen. I can't." So, no, it's important, but we'll wait. Yeah.
Well, I think we're getting close to the time where we have our special segment. So I'm gonna ask Joe.
I think so. Let's go get our friend. I'll be back.
While he's doing that, I'm gonna ask one more question of AnnaMaria before we jump into it.
Okay.
Do you have a routine? So we have, special time of the day when you get your creative juices flowing, but do you have a set routine when you work on your design of game?
I have a routine for getting to work every day, and getting into that headspace is what helps creatively. And this was true even when I was still working in the art industry. Have to get up, have to have a coffee, have to kind of check everything to make sure I like a neat working space. So I will briefly like run through the living room and clean all that up and make sure everything's clean in the kitchen and stuff. Sit down, answer all my email. Like, if I don't answer them in the morning, they will not get answered till the next day. It's just part of the routine. Check social media, and then literally put my head down and work for the next 45 minutes. Like, it's every morning is like that.
Okay.
So even if I have a meeting, I will knock out all the first stuff so I can take the meeting and then immediately head down working. So there's just something about I actually am diagnosed with OCD. And so having routines help me break out of I need to have everything planned long enough to be able to explore the creative stuff and break out of that. So yeah, I have routines for everything, and they're very, very important to me. So that's a really, really good question.
Yeah.
I like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, now it is time. We have come to the special segment of the show that we call the Sir Phantom Lipton questionnaire. So good evening, Sir Phantom.
Good evening, Jess. Good evening, Abby. Good evening, AnnaMaria. How are you all doing? I trust you had a fantastic Christmas.
Yeah, it's
just a lovely holiday.
Yeah.
Lovely.
It is lovely.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Yes, we have reached the portion of the show, like Sir James Lipton before us. It is time for the Sir Phantom Lipton questionnaire. AnnaMaria,
yes.
Are you ready?
I think so.
All right. There are no right or wrong answers. Answer these however short or long you wish. Just have fun with it, okay?
Okay.
All right. Here we go. What is your favorite board game?
Seven Wonders.
What is your least favorite board game?
Clank Legacy. Fuck that game.
What board game makes you feel the most happy?
Just one. Largely, I'm going to expand on that one. Largely because I feel like it's one game that includes a really great number of people, and so no one has to sit to the side and feel like, oh, I don't know how to play. Like, this is too complicated for me. Or, you can play with an 8-year-old. You can play with an 80-year-old. Like, it brings everyone to the table, and that is my happy spot. Watching everybody else have a ridiculous time. Best feeling in the world. So, just one. Absolutely.
All right. Okay. What board game makes you feel the most sad?
Oh. I don't know that the board game has made me sad. What board games made me angry before? And then I was sad that I was angry because then I felt bad because like, oh, you shouldn't let that make you get mad, but I did because I'm a hothead. So just recently I was sad because I lost Skull King, and I lost in such a way that I was one book short, and the person, I will not name them, it was Ben, like literally knew that I needed the one book, and I watched him change his choice of card. so that he could completely dick me over. And I just as I saw his fingers move, I was just like, I think I'm enraged at you right now. And that makes me sad, but also I'm enraged and I need to go walk outside for a moment. So yes. So not sad, but sad that I get angry.
Okay. All right. What board game components do you love?
I love poker chips. Splendor is a game that gets a lot of play at the house because I have 3 adult kids who live here at the house with us, but one of them only plays like 3 board games. Splendor is one of them. And I think for him as well as me, it is the feel of those solid poker chips in your hand. I love to clink them. I love to play like James Bond. Like I'm going to do something really cool with these things. We got a copy of the Iron Clays and we sub them out for like every monetary unit in game. It's just so I can just sit there and like, you know, live out my James Bond fantasy or whatever. So poker chips. Poker chips is my answer.
I do love me some Iron Clays. They are fantastic. They're so good.
Tactile. Okay. I love tactile stuff. Yeah.
All right. What board game components do you dislike?
Clear dice. They are visually hard for accessibility. Especially not only are they colored most of the time, right? So, and for colorblind people, that's already hard. But if you have visibility problems, a lot of times seeing the pips mirrored on the other side, it makes the one that you're looking at hard to see if it's not very clearly painted on the dice. So, if I could abolish like one thing, it would be like clear dice, so that everybody can always read the pips on the dice.
Okay. What board game is so bad that its name should become a curse word?
Clank Legacy. Clank that. Clank that game. Oh, nice. Yeah, clank that hard.
Okay. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Ooh. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with cars. I'm still a little obsessed with cars. And what I really love to do is go to those places where you pick parts out of cars with my dad, because he always had a beater we were always working on. I would love to build cars from pick parts places. And I know that there are people that do that. So you get a good body and then you just go and find good pieces in other cars. It's like the ultimate car recycling project. So, and if I had to like choose another profession, I think that or like house flipper would be another big one. But that one in particular, like I would just like to make these like Frankenstein cars. I think that would be so cool.
All right. What profession would you not like to do?
Ooh, that's a good one. I did a brief stint in retail sales. I never would go back. People are not kind to service industry workers. And I don't have any fucks left to give anymore. And I don't think I would be able to stay in that job very long. I just think it's an unfortunate way of result of the way that capitalism works. So I think retail sales would be my least, or like fast food worker. I just couldn't deal with the customers, honestly.
Okay. And finally, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Bitch, there's been a mistake. No, that's what I expect to hear. I don't know. Oh, if heaven exists, I want to see my old dogs again. So, like, I want to know that, like, your pets go there. So, I would like for God to call my dog's name so I can see them again.
All right. And there you have it, the Sir Phantom Lipton questionnaire.
That was so good. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
So to add to that, AnnaMaria, we are in the process of getting a little introduction rap song from AnnaMaria Kill, who is actually working on something just for that segment. So
that's fantastic. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Omari's amazing. So, that is a fantastic segment, Joe. Yeah. That's so good.
Thank you.
So we're gonna have transition and it's in process. Maybe we're going to have it like fade out. So it's just, Joe and the guest and me and Abby are backstage like snickering and, making little fun comments. But yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Yeah, it's been a hit with everybody we've done it with. It's just so good.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna start using Clank that as like a thing though. I think everyone
Yes.
I love it.
I mean, right
Those
here,
are the
like I
salt
said,
central.
we get people's creative juices flowing in these conversations. So
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I think the hardest part about doing that is like when I come out with the coat and tie and the guests just like you just cracked up and I'm just like
Yep.
I'm just sitting here keeping my straight face because that's the whole shtick. But it is very hard to not like break character.
Oh, I can see that. But it's so much fun. Yeah, I love it.
Good, glad you enjoyed it.
All right. AnnaMaria, we have a couple more questions before we sign out for the evening. Abby, what do you got?
Do you have a favorite set of dice?
It depends on what game I'm playing, what system I'm playing, and what day of the month it is. I've got a system.
I love it.
Wow, that was not the answer I was expecting. Jeez.
Yeah, I actually, somebody's hot take on Twitter the other day was like, you only need one set of dice. And I was like, oh, I think
No,
I
you
have to block
don't.
you. What? I don't do the whole dice jail thing, and I don't necessarily believe in luck, but there are a couple of things that really have either worked for me or kind of hit home. I love beautiful dice. I used to stress buy dice. That was like, especially like during the 2016 election cycle, I bought so many sets of dice.
Oh wow.
Every day was bad. But now there are certain ones that I feel like fit thematically with certain games, or I do have a couple of sets of dice. Ben and I, my partner and I, met at a role-playing game. He was the GM, and I was brand new to tabletop role-playing. So that set of dice has a lot of meaning. And then I have particular colors that I like for certain numbers. So yeah, so lots.
Awesome. Joe, do you have anything else?
Let me see. Just looking at that. Oh yeah, here's a good one for you, AnnaMaria.
All right.
For you personally, what are you more partial to? Simplistic or complex games?
Ooh. I think generally more complex. I love things with a lot of moving parts. I love point salad. A good point salad. That's why Seven Wonders remains on top for me. The idea that there are like 18 different ways to score, and you can play the game different every time. Not necessarily a complex game, but I love that complexity in things like Tricarian. Do you just want to be performing all the time? Do you want to gather up things? Like there are Arc Nova. Do you want to have like the most beautiful research facility that was ever created on the face of the earth? Are you basically running a Florida sideshow that has two gators and like a crabby looking like bird of prey? You're just like, come see the bird, like kind of thing. Like complexity is definitely my jam. I will add that something that is simple but well designed is like a good dessert, right? Like it doesn't have to be, it could just be strawberries and cream, but if the strawberries are right there at the peak of ripeness and the cream has just got enough fluff, a simple game can just be like exactly what you need to finish off or start an evening. So, but mostly just like burn my brain out. Like that's what I want.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, AnnaMaria, final question from me. What is your Grail game?
Discworld, Ankh Pork. I've mentioned it a couple of times. Sadly, I had a copy of this game at one point, and we have moved frequently. And during one move, the box with that game in it disappeared.
Oh no!
No.
Yeah. So Discworld is like my favorite thing in the entire world. Have all the books. Have a tattoo related to it. Like And for a while, the game was like $1,100. At least now with Natty Narking, now when they reskinned the game and re-released it, the people who liked it just for the mechanic now have that. So finding copies, they're usually like $300 or $400. So at some point, I'm probably going to just like break open the piggy bank and just go for it. But yeah, that is definitely the one. It's a great game, and it's the perfect theme for me. It couldn't be any better unless the whole thing was like Shades of Purple. Like that would be the only thing that would make it even better. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think we have learned quite a bit from you, AnnaMaria. This has been fantastic. And before we sign off for the evening, where can folks find you on the socials, and what do you have coming up in the next few weeks, months, next year? 2023 is just around the corner. Wow, what's coming up for you?
Yeah. So I am on Twitter at AnnaMaria_JP. Also, Violet D Games for Violet Daisy Games. I'm on Instagram at Violet Daisy Games, and Violet Daisy Games has a Facebook page, but my own personal Facebook is private. So I mean, if I've met you, look me up there, send me a note. We can hang. But yeah, and Twitter's probably where I'm the most active, even though sometimes I don't want to be, considering what a hot mess that's been recently. Let's see, upcoming stuff. So I'm publishing games. And we've got a couple of projects. So 2 projects that have been announced are a TTRPG supplement called You Don't Meet in a Tavern, 100 prompts for your adventures. And the whole idea behind the book is that instead of starting out whatever your RPG system or whatever it is, you don't have to start in a tavern or a pub. Like you can meet because Evil Witch put a curse on each one of you, and now you're drawn together and you're stuck together until you break the curse. Or you can meet because you all got drunk at the local spring knife throwing event and woke up together with no boots on in the middle of the forest. You got to figure out what happened. So like it's got all sorts of different ideas. And the other announced game is from Evan Larkins, and it is called Epilogue, and it is weaving a story about what has happened after the end. So I'm excited to talk more about that. I've got 2 other games that I'm in the process of signing, and I'll be announcing probably one at the end of January and probably one in February. So I'm really excited. 2023 is going to be like kind of a big year, and I'm super stoked. I'm stoked to talk about these things and to get the games out, but I'm mostly stoked to see people start playing them. So I really am excited about the different experiences people get to have with this. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah,
awesome.
That's the major stuff. So
exciting things.
Love it.
Exciting things.
Yeah.
All right, Joe and Abby, what do y'all have going on this week, upcoming for you both?
So for the rest of the year, tomorrow, Abby and I will be doing our top 10 of 2022. That'll be tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. So come on by, hang out, chat, let us know what your top games of the year are. And then on Friday, while Abby is recovering from wisdom teeth extraction, I'll be here playing BGA with chat. So come and hang out with me and play some games.
And
I will not be on camera.
That'll also be 4:30 p.m. Pacific on Friday.
Okay. Yeah, Abby will not be in camera. She'll probably be in the chat, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
Joe politely requested that I not.
Oh man!
I mean, hey, you know what? I offered is like you can come on camera, all doped up and slurring your words, if you want to.
Chipmunk.
Yeah.
Chipmunk.
Yeah, I was like,
chipmunk.
Yeah.
That is so cute.
I can totally do it.
There's the content people want to see.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah. So I'll be in chat playing games most likely if I'm not napping.
Very cool.
That's fair too.
Well, then for me, friends, you can catch me here on Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific time. I will be going through my top 5 games of 2022, going through game number 3 on Wednesday, and then number 2 on Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific on Friday morning. And then on Saturday for the Tabletop Live Network, we're going to be going over 2 days for the marathon. Day 1 is going to be some of our top games of 2022, and then day 2 is going to be playing a game off our Shelf of Opportunity, so tune into that. But my slot on Saturday is going to be at noon 30, playing my top game of 2022 and also giving away a copy of it as well. So if you want any information about all of our schedules and stuff, you've got our handles right there on screen for all of us. But I will say thank you once again to my lovely guests, my wonderful co-hosts, everyone that has been hanging out with us and lurking. I know you could be doing so many different things, but I appreciate you all hanging out with us today. So I'm going to set up a raid for us to go over to Joe Sondow. He and Ambi are doing their Puzzle Mondays as per usual. So until next time, friends, stay safe, enjoy your board games, be kind to one another, and we'll catch you all on the next stream. Bye, everybody.
Bye.